Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time and thank you for your um, gracious presence. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I know we have participants from all around the world, and I'm presenting myself from Latin America. So it's morning here, and I imagine there are several participants from Nepal, so it's already almost midnight now. So thank you for your time. We would like to welcome you all on our this thought-provoking session, which we are organizing during this 15th session of Expert Mechanism on Rights of the Indigenous Peoples, organized by United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner. So basically, this session we are organizing to discuss, to share about the experiences of our Indigenous brothers and sisters that in Nepal we are facing, we are struggling. There are several issues that is there around the human rights violation, suppression by the state. So basically we will be presenting, we will be sharing about the stories, about experiences of the different speakers. We have distinguished speakers today, which our other moderator, president of Global Home for Indigenous Peoples will share. So we have four panelist speakers today in our session who will share their experiences, their expertise, their knowledge from Nepal. So thank you all and welcome in today's session. So briefly, I would like to share about Global Home for Indigenous People. So we are a new organization. We are registered this year in France. And this organization, basically, we want to focus on the promotion of Indigenous leaders, promote their human rights, promote their well-being. So as you see in the screen, so that's our goal, to create a network of global Indigenous leaders. So basically, our board and our co-founders are all, we are Indigenous people, and our objective is to work on the issues of the Indigenous leaders. And so on and so forth. We have the objectives to promote, to enhance the leadership skills on the different issues of human rights, climate change, which we believe like the climate change has been directly affecting the Indigenous peoples the most. Promote different Indigenous practices in the form of different knowledge products, and also promote the dignified life for the Indigenous people. So this is very brief on our about our organization. So during this session, what we will do is we will go through our distinguished speakers, our panelists will share about their experiences, about their expertise in Nepal, and how, as a Tharu Indigenous, they are struggling, they are suppressed in different issues of the human rights, different struggles, different obstacles that as an Indigenous, they are suffering. So basically, we will be sharing the stories about Indigenous people's challenges and struggles in Nepal. And we will have a Q&A session for 30 minutes. And then we will end up by reflection of the session. So as a ground rule, what I like to request everyone is, as we are a global participants, so I would like to request you all to be mindful of your language, and be respectful to each other's opinions and thoughts. So here, after this, I'd like to hand over the session to our president of Global Homes for Indigenous Peoples, Mr. Breeze Lal Chaudhary, and take over the session forward. Thank you, and welcome you all once again.
Thank you, Anil, for a very brief introduction about the organization and what the program is, the program schedule for today. हमारा नाम ब्रिजलाल चौधरी हम के अरे पर्सा जिला के पर्सा जिला हमारा घर हम अभी जिनेवा में बनी So I just said that my name is Brijlal Chaudhary. I'm the president of Global Home for Indigenous Peoples, and I'm right now based in Geneva, where I'm attending expert mechanism on the rights of Indigenous peoples, which is the 15th session that's being held from July 4 to 8. And today and yesterday, I presented I made our statements on behalf of Global Home on the issues of Tharu people again and again. I speak every single day about the issues that Tharu people face in Nepal. So it's very good. It's very timely as well that we're meeting today. And as a सबैजना यही आज छौँ. It's very good. It's very encouraging for me. It gives me a lot of strength and courage to go even further at any forums globally and talk about the issues and challenges and even solutions for Thai people in Nepal. So, dhanyabad sabaijanalai. It's wonderful that you all are here, and I'm very happy to be in this session. And right now, according to the program, we have like really great speakers. And without any further ado, I would like to introduce Lavkant. He's an artist from Sarlahi district based in Kathmandu. He belongs to the indigenous Thai community of Tarai. His art addresses issues related to the history, society, politics of Tarai, centering around Thai people's struggle for rights and recognition. Um, Embedding indigenous vocabularies within historical sources, he aims to unveil the multiple injustices of extrajudicial killings, environmental degradation, and political disenfranchisement that the Tharus have faced. His art are narratives of resistance and resilience. Amidst longitudinal sufferings, his art delves into the personal facets, human-animal relations, and collective realities in Nepal. So the floor is, yeah.
We lost you for some time, so maybe the last section what you said about Lavkant. Yeah, can you repeat, please?
Okay, so I'm a big fan of Lavkant. What you do, Lavkant, is very inspiring. As an artist, you dig very deep into our history. The real truth of Thai people and their struggles and their, I would say, their glorious, I would say, culture as well. So, Lavkant, please take the floor, and the floor is yours. So, please, Lavkant, where are you? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Birzal Day, and thank you all for having me. It is great honor to present my work. Can you play the video, please?
Can you hear the sound?
Yeah.
त्यो बड्डा थियो त्यो बड्डा चाहिँ बिमार पनि बिमारै थियो अनि अब त्यसलाई पनि हात पात ढकल पकल गरे ठ्याक्कै त्यही अनि एक रात त्यस्तै जिउँदै बस्यो अर्को रात चाहिँ बित्यो
सबसे ज्यादा कुटाई बम्मर पहिलाई ये गोरामा पिटलै गोरामा ये लस्सी कस के घसीट के लैजाके कहीं खोलामा फाल देऊ कहीं के कहीं खोलामा फाल देऊ कहीं के ये मर जाए कहीं के ऐसी कुन तब बल्ला दिन पूरा वही वहाँ गेले कहो जोशीपुर गई नहीं फेन आए फेन जाए वस्त करके ढेर सटाई नहीं लगभग हमारी महीना भर समय सटाई नहीं ऐसी कौन कर ले आता है कमाइया भूलक नाटा से हो कि गरीब नाटा से हो हमारी नहीं कौन दुखा पैना हमरे एक मंजूरी ज्याला करके खाना मनाई हमरे ऐसी कौन हमारी सटाई कर से हमरे तो नहीं से कब बर्दाश्त करे कही कि हमारे
Yes, this video work was done after the massacre of Tikapur, where in 2015, more than 88 houses were burnt due to the suppression, and the state mechanism was like as uh, 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 the state was criminalizing Tharu Indigenous people in the Tarai region, and this video relates to that. And in that video, in that video, it says that if my husband or beloved were at home, it would be beautiful. I would share my pain and sorrows with you. At that time, due to the state violence, Tharu community youth and male has to migrate from their own place. Can you give me the access? I can share my screen.
Okay. You should be able to share your screen.
Yes, and these artworks, that video, and now I'm sharing is about the Masinia Dastur series, which was exhibited in Siddhartha Art Gallery in 2019, at the end of 2019, and Masinya Dastur means like is enslavable people, and Dastur means the documents which were forcefully contracted with the people, with the Tharu people, and the Tharu people were enslaved due to that Dasturs. And these are the Dasturs which were done with the indigenous Tharu people. And these artworks, this one work is about redrawing of history. It says that let's draw our history on with our own skills and technology which we indigenous people have, like as we have like as plowing culture and different kinds of skills. And this is also another work of Masinia Dastur series. It if you'll see the landscape of Tarai, and if you'll see the Tharu community, it was always marginalized, and it was always suppressed by the development projects and malaria eradication projects. And these works are I have done this work influenced by the tattooing culture of Tharu, which is Godna, Chedna in our tradition. This is another work which was exhibited in Sri Lanka, Colombo Scope. And it is also like as animal and human relationship, nature relationship, relationship with the nature, and what the state led us that always suppression, like as with the languages. These documents were the contract papers were done with the Nepali language, and the paper I have used is Lokta paper, which was also branded as Nepali Kagas at the time of Mahendra. And at the time of Mahendra, he colonized internally. He colonized through the language, through the dress, through the ek bhasa ek bhesh, like as one religion kind of thing. And I have commented on that statement, with this work. You can see the details. At the same time, here one of the Tharu woman is preserving her culture through worshiping the animals through her worship, and at the same time, queen is killing the animals, which represents the which represents our gods. And these are the sculptures which is like as worshipped as god. I did it with the local artists in collaborations. This work is DDT. If you will see the definition or the full form of DDT is scientifically it is dichlorophenyl trichloroethane, but it does not apply on our situation. It is like a danger dose to Tharu. It is based like as DDT was to silence the history of the Tharu community. Sorry, I lost my sharing. Anilji.
Hold on, I'll make you, sorry, log on yeah, here we go. I'm gonna make you a co-host, Yeah, go ahead.
This was the DDT was during the 50s and 60s, which was done with the support of US and WSA at the time of King Mahendra. Here is like as one of the man is spraying all the DDT on the cultures and the tradition of Tharu community. And in another painting you see the animals. It was like as these works was this was like as contribution to the Tharu people. Sorry for the languages. And this is the detail of the work, DDT. You can see like as fishing and going to the going in the block card. And this another painting painting series is from a citizen from the land of inequality. This is Parvati Chaudhary from Tikapur, who was carrying her child for the equal identity and equal rights for their people at the time. and this one is after the Tikapur massacre. And it was, if you see the like as at the daytime, everything was like as normal, and after the night falls, the houses were burned at the same time while the people were sleeping. This is the detail of the work. This is another work from the citizen of the citizen from the land of inequality, and this is the Tur series. You can see the old manuscripts from the contract papers, which was forcefully done with the Tharu people. And at that time, Tharus were enslaved through the language and through the religion of uh, uh, Nepal's state. These are the works from that series. And this is Tamasuk series, which was done in 2019. It was done on the same like as Lokta paper, Nepali Kagaz. And it is like as the stories from the generation to intergenerational enslavement in the community. Like as when the child is born, it is all they are already like as enslaved for the upper caste or the landlords, and everything and the people are treated as their assets. And these were done like as deceiving the people, Tharu people. This is another work. And this is the diary where faced truth of the suppressed. It was done in 2019. It is a sculptural work. I did through engraving and photo transfer on the wood. It was done in collaboration with Indu Tharu, who is author and researcher. And at that I did this diary. I recreated this diary from Johan Ratkayas, who was also a Tharu journalist and writer, revolutionary at that time. He was killed by the then Royal Nepal Army. And this is Johan Ratgaya. And if you will see the history of documentation, then you will get the manuscript on written on the like is gold plated or silver plated or like as stone engraving. But if you will search the history of marginalized people, you will not get any kind of such kind of documentations or anything like that. I have I have I have done this because wood and the jungle and the forest are related to the Tharu people. So I did on this material. And this was displayed like this. This is ostracism. It was created in 2017.
Lavkan, before we move forward, there's Masinia.
Sorry, Dai.
Can you explain the meaning of Masinia? Masinia. There's somebody in the chat. Yeah.
Masinia means enslavable, which is like as it was categorized by Jango Bahadur Rana in 1854 in the Nations Code. It was like as the caste division, which was like as upper caste, who is like as Tagadhari, and Masinia Masinia and Masinia Matwali, and Namasenya Matwali. Namasenya Matwali was like his Gurung Magar, who were like supporting the government at that time, and those who were not supporting the government were called Masinya Matwali, which means there will be no law for any of those who like as the people who would be killed or be marginalized or made slave was called Masinya Matwali, who used to drink alcohol. And the story is like is the fine or the tax you have to pay. Yes.
Thank you, Lakan. Now we can move on.
And this one is like as ostracism. It was done in 2017. If you'll see, there are lots of bullets, which is like as overlaid on the crops and corns, cereals, in different cereals and crops. I did it because while if you'll see, Brizlaldai, I want a favor.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Can I talk in Nepali and you
Oh,
can you
God, yes, yeah, yeah, sure, go ahead, go ahead.
यसमा चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ मेरो चाहिँ यो काम चाहिँ भनौँ न, यो पिपल्स वारदेखि लिएर टिकापुरको इन्सिडेन्टसम्म, टिकापुरको घटनासम्म आइपुग्दाखेरि चाहिँ के भयो त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो राज्यले चाहिँ किन त होइन यति साह्रो चाहिँ दमन गरिरहेछ या मान्छे मारिरहेछ। अब स्टिल भन्ने हो भनेदेखि अस्तिको घटना पनि अब भनौँ न, एउटा आन्दोलनमा गएको बच्चालाई होइन टाउकोमै ताकेर हान्नुपर्ने, थारू भन्न साथै टाउकोमै गोली ताकेर हान्नुपर्ने, होइन मार्नुपर्ने, त्यस्तो खालको मानसिकता कहाँबाट आयो त भन्ने खालको त्यही मासिन्याकै कन्सेप्टबाट भएको हो नि त। मास्न मिल्ने होइन मार्न मिल्ने त्यस्तो खालको। अनि त्यसमा पनि कस्तो छ भन्दाखेरि अहिलेसम्मको हिस्ट्री हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि यो पिपल्स वारदेखि लिएर अहिलेसम्मको सबैभन्दा बढी अब भनौँ न थारूहरू नै मारिएको छ। किन त मारियो त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यही मासिन्याकै कन्सेप्टबाटै मारिएको हो। अनि त्यसमा पनि अब जस्तै कि यो सेरियल्सहरू राखेको कारण यो अन्न भनेको त मान्छेको जीवन दिने हो नि त होइन। अनि त्यो जीवन दिने त फेरि यो थारू समुदायबाटै थियो होइन। हिस्ट्री हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि सबै किसानहरू नै हो। अनि यो एउटा मेटाफोरिकली मैले चाहिँ यो रिप्रेजेन्ट गरेको छु यो काम के। अब जस्तै कि बन्दुकको
So what Lapan just said is that since the history, like history all the way to what happened to Tikapur, it has been violent. The state has always treated Tharu people just like Jangabadu, how to say, put us as Masinia, so something that could be destroyed easily as an object. So his work is based on that, doing research all the way from the history and all the way till what do you call Tikapur incident. And he also talked about what happened recently when a young Tharu girl was shot on the head. So this all reflects the injustice and discrimination and suppression that Tharu people has been experiencing for a very long time. And recently he spoke about what you call from Maoist revolution, People's War till in this period so far, it's not very peaceful either. A lot of Tharu people got killed in the Maoist People's War, and most of them were Tharu people. So now he's talking about the grains, and grains are something that nourishes you, something that fulfills you, something that takes care of you. So love Khan, it's your now. So I'll break the way, like give me some break, like you speak for like a minute and then I can translate.
ओके सरी दाइ। अनि यसमा चाहिँ अब भनौँ न अर्को चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरि बन्दुक कोसँग हुन्छ त होइन, शासन गर्ने होइन, हिस्ट्री हेर्ने हो भने संसारभरिको जो शोषक छ, जो शासन गर्छ होइन, जो राज्य उसमा छ, उनीहरूसँग हुन्छ। अनि के गरिरहेछ त भन्दाखेरि एउटाले चाहिँ जीवन दिइरहेछ भनेदेखि अर्कोले चाहिँ जीवन लिइरहेछ होइन, काइन्ड अफ मेटाफोर नै युज गरेको छु यसमा चाहिँ। अनि त्यो ज्यान लिने र ज्यान दिने कै मेटाफोर नै युज गरेको छु यसमा।
So what Lavkan just spoke about is like the gun. The gun is who has the gun? The gun is with somebody who has power, and they are the ones who could kill, and we are the ones who are powerless. So yeah.
Hazur, and if you see the details, like it is always continuing, like यो अब एक किसिमले कुहिरहेछ तर त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ नयाँ लाइफ नै सुरु भइरहेछ भनौँ न, स्ट्रगल कन्टिन्युज, रेजिस्टेन्स कन्टिन्युज खालकै छ यसको काम चाहिँ।
So this picture shows that there was a bullet and something died, you know, but within that something new is emerging as well. So life continues despite all this discrimination and all this like as a violent as a governance that we're experiencing. There's something that new that's emerging from that as well. So yeah.
हजुर, अनि यो काम त अब हेरि नै हाल्नुभयो त्यो भिडियोको। And this is another work. This is entitled "Give Me Blood and I'll Give You Freedom." I have done this in 2017, and these are like the statements from the Constitution, new Constitution, but at the same time it is marginalizing through different kinds of what it is criminalizing the people through like through the development projects and conservation projects, national parks projects, through those projects of Tharu community. My works are like questioning like what will be the situation of the Tharu, or what will be the position of the Tharu community in such kind of ever-changing world, or what will be the position. Yeah, this is my ending. Thank you.
So thank you, Lavkan. So if there is any question for Lavkan, please feel free to share in the chat, or you can ask later when we have Q&A session. Thank you so much, Lavkan, for how to say talking about our history in a very gentle way, you know. But we know that our history has been very violent, you know, since Nepal became a country, you know. How to say, it starts with 1950s when DDT was spread all over our lands, and in many countries around the world, we're asking for we're asking for compensation actually. So yeah, so it's a wonderful way you have highlighted all these things, you know, and the struggle goes on because and new identities are creating that we're creating apart from all the discrimination that's happening. And thank you so much for how to say saying that in a very good way and very what do you call gentle way. But we know that our history is very violent, and we need to work together that something new can grow, which will be how to say where our ancestors, where our future generations can benefit well. So thank you, Lavkant. And now I would like to invite our next speaker. So this is like how to say a continued struggle that Tharu people or indigenous people around the world are struggling. But there are solutions, there are mechanisms, there are laws, there are constitution that protects our rights and well-being. So now I would like to invite Mr. Fulman Chaudhary. So I'll briefly give his introduction, and then he can share his statement. So Mr. Chaudhary serves as a member of Global Steering Committee of the Indigenous Peoples Forum at International Fund for Agriculture Development. He presently served also as an executive president of Asian Indigenous International Network and consultant advisor of Unison for People's Alliance in Nepal. And he's also the United Nations Permanent Forum's Asia member who recommends Economic and Social Council in New York is the highest level, how to say, highest level, how to body for indigenous people. So he represents Asia indigenous organizations where 2/3 of indigenous people live. So it's a great responsibility. And recently, Mr. Chaudhary is also working on the Global Steering Committee of FAO on the coalition of indigenous people's food system. It's a great mega project that's going to come along, and we would love to work with all of you on this as well. So without any further delay, Mr. Chaudhary, if I have missed anything, please feel free to add, but the floor is yours, Mr. Fullman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, BG. I'm really happy to be here as you are invited me for this important discussion that needs the global attention. I'm very much excited to be here and speaking on this particular topic as the global home for Indigenous people during this 15th session of the rights of Indigenous people in here Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva. I'm also here to participate in this session. As being a member of the UN Permanent Forum, it's really an honor to be here and share on how United Nations has different international laws that protects the rights of indigenous people across the world, including Tharu Indigenous Peoples. The representation of Tharu peoples at different indigenous forums, and I would like to share different mechanisms and the human rights instrument that protects the rights of indigenous people. This mechanism that I'm going to talk about could be instrumental for realizing the aspiration of the Tharu Indigenous people. Of course, when we talk about the ensuring the rights of indigenous people, we have a lot of mechanisms within the UN. So I would like to draw attention, all of you, describing some specific mechanism that we have, the charter bodies of UN that support and guarantees the rights of indigenous people, which are, I would like to explain very briefly. 40 years ago, on June 27, 1989, the International Labour Organization, ILO, adopted the Convention 169 on Indigenous and Tribal Peoples, which facilitate the development of dialogue between country's government and the indigenous people who live in the country. And the Nepal has ratified in 2007. Another one is 15 years ago, the United Nations Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People, which we call in short form UNDRIP, was adopted by the General Assembly on 13 September 2007. Third one is, it is 10 years ago, UN Guiding Principle on Business and Human Rights, which is endorsed by the UN Human Rights Council in 2011. The most important another international framework is 7 years ago we received Sustainable Development Goal 2030 agenda with the motto of no one left behind. And another most important, which moderator Mr. Brijlal already mentioned about the Point Forum. It is published on 20 years ago, where I'm representing from Asia region. And also we have expert mechanism on rights of indigenous people and special rapporteur of the rights of indigenous people. This is these two mechanisms also very much important for the indigenous people, which reports, which you know, coordinate with the Human Rights Council. And as always, we just started Decade of International Indigenous Language from 2022 to 2032. These are the main mechanisms is related to the indigenous peoples. And moreover, we have so many treaty bodies of the UN that support the rights of indigenous people. First is International Convention on the Civil and Political Rights. I think adopted in May 1991. And International Convention on the Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. This is very important treaty bodies. And next one is International Convention on the Elimination of all forms of racial discrimination. And Nepal government ratified on 1971, January 30. So these are the main mechanisms and treaties, convention, declaration, and agreement where Nepal government stand to apply for the indigenous people. These are the very much related with the indigenous people, including Tharu Indigenous. So these are the particular treaties, convention, declaration, and agreement that Nepal is a signatory party. That's why this is the time to review our work to make strong our result-oriented action. Additionally, the indigenous people of Nepal, including the Tharu people, can use this mechanism to promote rights and well-being. In relation to Tikapur case and injustice faced by Tharu communities, I draw the attention to the Nepal government to immediately make the Lal Commission report on Tikapur incident. Immediately release the 8 Tharu political prisoner with respect to compensation, make a formal apology to families who were arrested, tortured, and jailed for years without any connection to the incident. I also invite the special rapporteur on rights of indigenous people to make the official visit to Nepal and ask the Nepal government to independently investigate the case. And undertake the comprehensive legal and policy reform program to advance the implementation of Nepal's commitment under UN Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People and ILO Convention 169. Because Nepal has ratified this convention on 2007, but still we do not see any proper action taken by the Nepal government. So we have already circulated official recommendation to the Nepal government that the Nepal government should be respect this convention to protect the rights of indigenous people in Nepal. So let's all work together to bring justice to the life of indigenous people. Let's be in touch, and I will share my contacts here in the chat if you need if you have any things to ask or to share your idea, your collaboration. In addition, I have some shareable aspect. This year, just we 2-3 months ago, in April, we have concluded the annual session of the Permanent Forum, which generally happen in April and May. And we have a very meaningful and very specific recommendation to the member state in particular issues, what the member states are doing across the country. So this time we have very specific some recommendation, and we have some future work related to the indigenous people. And this year, member of the Permanent Forum appointed to conduct some studies to be presented to the forum at the 2023 session of the forum. For me, I have a very big responsibility that I want to share in this meeting. I have to work to do within the 6 months to present in the next session. These are the very specific. The first is the role of biodiversity, conservation on the health, well-being, and self-determination of indigenous people. This is a very specific work. It will be, I think, I should conclude before in the December, and made a conference room paper in this regard. And next one is very important for indigenous, Tharu indigenous people. The challenges of sickle cell anemia of indigenous people in Asia and Africa, a case study of Tharu indigenous people of Nepal. Yeah, this work will be conducted in Asia and Africa, but case study will be present, particularly Tharu people's case study from Nepal. So these two studies will be made by myself. So I would like to request all of you, we can do collaboratively, and in collaboration, if you have any organization, you can support individually also. So if we can do something different, focusing to this research and studies, we'll have the opportunity to the biodiversity. So I request to all of you, we can do together these two studies. So this is my overview, very brief overview from my side. If you have anything, we can, yeah. So if I have anything to respond from this meeting, I can respond later. And right now I can stop my presentation, and I would like to hand over to moderator, Mr. Rizlalji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fulman Chaudhary, for your, I would say, really delightful presentation on the mechanisms and instruments that indigenous people all over the world can use to go even further. You know, I think the power rests on us. The power is with us. I come from I'd say, central Nepal, Parsa district. You know, before I know, like my grandfather used to tell me that there was no government. We all manage our own affairs. And it's also time now for us to manage our own affairs. So it's very encouraging, Mr. Fulman, that you showed us all the mechanisms that exist at the international level that protects, promotes, and even fights for indigenous people. And just yesterday in the export mechanism session, there was an artifact from Mexico that was stolen by Swedish government. So this export mechanism found a way to bring back that artifact of the indigenous people from Swedish museum very peacefully. So these mechanisms that Mr. Fullman already mentioned are powerful, and they are there for us to use. And if we don't use it, we'll just be where we are. So I encourage, and thank you, Mr. Fullman, for sharing that. And it's very encouraging what the indigenous people around the world have achieved. Canada is drafting a national policy on indigenous issues. They are domesticating United Nations Declaration on Indigenous Peoples issue. New Zealand, they are really far ahead. Same thing with Australia, same thing with Finland, same thing with Norway. It's very encouraging. And it's the indigenous people who are driving that. And I think Tharu people had their own governance, had their own leadership, and now is our time to claim that leadership and move forward. So anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Fullman, for your encouragement and for all the mechanisms that you shared. I'm sure it will be very useful and will also reflect on those mechanisms over time. So without any delay, it's very interesting. Now I would like to welcome our next guest speaker, Honorable Dr. Uma Sankar Prasad Chaudhary. He's a commissioner at Tharu Commission, Nepal. He's a medical graduate and has a master in public health. And he's a public health expert as well. And he has 37 years of government experience working with the government of Nepal and formulation of various policies and planning experiences. And he has also an executive experience as a planning and policy in the field of government job. So I really welcome Dr. Uma Sankar on the floor, and thank you so much for the invitation and being here with us. I really appreciate your time. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, are you getting me?
I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, good night, and namaste to all those who are participating in this meeting. First of all, I want to start with my institutional introduction. Tharu Commission is a constitutional commission of Nepal as per Constitution of Nepal 2015. The commission the commission is the welfare of Tharu indigenous people of Nepal, as we know that. After the Tharuhat movement in 2015, in the Constitution of Nepal, make the provision to form this constitutional commission. This is the 4th year running period of this commission. So right now I am as a commissioner of this constitutions. Next thing is just now I want to sharing the background of the Tharu indigenous people in Nepal. What is the scenario, real situation of the Tharu indigenous people in Nepal? As you know, 6.6%, that means 2 million population of the Tharu indigenous people in Nepal. Nepal has been 3 geographical region, mountain, hills, and Tarai plain, as we know that. Tarai plain area is main residential area of Tharu indigenous people. Tharu main occupation of the main occupation of Tharu indigenous people is agriculture, as we are very familiar. As per the government of Nepal, categorized Tharu indigenous people belongs to marginalized group. Data shows that less than 1% of Tharu indigenous people are participating in the bureaucracy of Nepal since long time. In judiciary service in Nepal, the representation of Tharu indigenous people is less than 1%. So we believe that Tharu indigenous people are not in decision-making positions since long era of Nepal's history. Human Development Report SDI 2020, which is produced by the National Planning Commission of Nepal, shows that SDI of Tharu indigenous people is lowest, that is 0.561 rather than 0.587 of Nepal. And next thing I want to share to all participants, legal arrangement of the Tharu indigenous people in Nepal. Constitution of Nepal 2015 and Tharu Commission Act 2017 are the related legal provision to support the Tharu indigenous people. In the preamble of the Constitution of Nepal 2015, ensure proportional inclusion and participatory principle in order to maintain prosperity and social justice to the marginalized community like Tharu indigenous people. Constitution of Nepal, article number 42, mentioned their right to social justice is a fundamental right to the Tharu indigenous people. Right to participate in the state bodies on the basis of inclusive principles. Tharu Commission Act 2017. In the preamble of this act, clearly mentioned Tharu Commission for identification of history and the culture of Tharu indigenous people. Promotion and protection of the right and interest, empowerment of Tharu indigenous people. I'm in continuing, the last topics is that recommendation to the government of Nepal for welfare of Tharu community by Tharu Commission Nepal to make necessary act for the participation in the state bodies on the basis of the inclusion principle to the Tharu indigenous people. We know that during the Tharuat movement, Tharu indigenous people are in custody so far, as we know. So pact between government of Nepal and leader of the Tharu indigenous people as well as Tharuat organization should be followed as per agreement. To improve the quality of life, provide the technical education to the Tharu indigenous people, legal provision and article looks like ornament not for implementation for the prosperous of Tharu indigenous people, so it should be implemented as soon as possible. On behalf of Tharu Commission, we all are trying and recommend to the government of Nepal these all things. So right now, that's all about my presentation. If anything from your side, I'm ready to participate with you. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Dr. Uma Shankar Chaudhary. It was very, how to say, you presented very knowledgeable facts about Tharu, the status of Tharu people in Nepal, and we're grateful for all the recommendations and all the hard work that you're doing as a commissioner and working side by side with the government of Nepal to bring something bigger for Tharu people across Tarai region. And the issue of Tharu is bigger than me, it's bigger than Mr. Fullman, it's bigger than anybody. We have to acknowledge that, and I'm glad you have that vision, Dr. Uma Shankar Chaudhary. So moving on, thank you for your remarks, and it was great to learn all these facts and your vision as well. So now I would like to welcome Honorable Vishnu Prasad Chaudhary, who is the chair of Tharu Commission, and I have his bio here. Hold on a second. Yeah. He's originally from Bardia, and he has a degree in economics and political science. He was also representative of the parliament in 2065 in Nepali date. I don't know how to convert that. He was also the state minister, Banijya Tatha Apurti Mantralaya in 2068. and he was also how to say a member of Tharu Rashtriya Mukti Morcha Nepal, Tharu Bhasha Tatha Sahitya Uttan Manch, and yeah, that's all I have. So, Honorable Vishnu Prasad Chaudhary ji, please take your floor, and thank you so much for how to say taking your time. धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद तपाईले आफ्नो समय दिनु भएकोमा हाम्रो लागि एकदम खुसीको कुरा हो अनि it also shows that yeah, the Tharu Commission cares about Tharu people, and so धन्यवाद विष्णु जी अब तपाई आफ्नो स्टेटमेन्ट सुरु गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ अनि म चाहिँ आई थिंक ट्रान्सलेट गर्नुपर्छ हैन
ट्रान्सलेट गर्नु पर्ला
ठीक छ केही छैन सर अब तपाईले एक अलिअलि पज गर्दै मलाई संकेत गर्नु होला अनि म ट्रान्सलेट गर्छु है त
सम्पूर्ण सहभागी महिला तथा studentमा नमस्कार
to all the participants namaste to everybody
अब मैले अब यहाँ चाहिँ धेरै विषय अहिले नराखौं किनभने हाम्रो माननीय सदस्यज्यूले चाहिँ अब परिचय खास गरिकन आयोगको बारेमा राखिसक्नु भएको छ मैले यहाँ चाहिँ अलिकति आयोगले गरिराखेका कामहरुको बारेमा जानकारी गराउँ भन्ने लागि राखेको छ
So he's not going to talk a lot on Tharu issues, but he's going to talk about what the commission has been doing so far.
आयोगले अहिले खास गरिकन आफ्नो कार्यादेश जो रहेको छ त्यस अन्तर्गत विभिन्न अध्ययनको कामहरु चाहिँ अगाडि बढाइराखेको छ त्यससँग सम्बन्धित एउटा चाहिँ अब पहिचानसँग सम्बन्धित खास गरिकन थारू समुदायको पहिचानसँग सम्बन्धित विषयमा थर सूचीकरण सम्पदा अध्ययन साहित्य संकलन चित्रकलाको अध्ययनको कामलाई चाहिँ अगाडि बढाएको छ आयोगले र अर्को चाहिँ अब जस्तो थारू समुदायको समग्र स्थितिको अध्ययन चाहिँ हामीले खास गरिकन शिक्षा स्वास्थ्य रोजगारी खाद्य आवास मौलिक अधिकारको कुराहरु छ दिगो विकास लक्ष्यसँग जोडेर चाहिँ समुदायको समग्र स्थितिको अध्ययनको कामलाई अगाडि बढाएका छौं यद्यपि यसको चाहिँ अलिकति समग्र समुदायगत हिसाबबाट नेपाल सरकारले त्यसरी चाहिँ तथ्याङ्कहरु नलिराखेको सन्दर्भमा हामीले टियु सँग सम्झौता गरेर यो कामलाई अगाडि बढाएको हो एकदमै चाहिँ सबै विषयहरु स्पष्टसँग आउन सकेको अवस्था चाहिँ छैन
So what Honorable Vishnu Prasad Chaudhary spoke about is that he said that the commission is fulfilling its mandate, and within that mandate, right now they are working on different research, and this research is heavily focused on identity. So, how to say it, collecting different surnames that Tharu people use across the country, and creating a database of how to say collecting data on sustainable development goals with respect to what you call Tharu people, and the indicators are like health, education, all these basic things, basic rights that people should have, like housing, water, sanitation, literacy, and all these things. But yeah, and there's a lack of data that he mentioned, and he's working with Tribhuvan University to get all those missing points, but there is some challenges that the commission is facing on that regard.
अर्को चाहिँ हामीले खास गरिकन छलफलहरु चलाएका छौं थारू समुदायसँग मातृभाषाको बारेमा कमैया कमलरी समस्याको बारेमा सिकल सेल एनिमियाको बारेमा बर्गर भलमनसा प्रथा बारे परम्परागत ज्ञान सिपको संरक्षण सम्वर्धन बारे जनगणना तथा तथ्याङ्क खास गरिकन खण्डीकृत तथ्याङ्कहरु चाहिँ यसको बारेमा चाहिँ हामीले विभिन्न छलफलहरु चलाएका छौं अब अरु विविध समस्याहरुसँग जोडिएर अरु छलफलहरु पनि भएका छन् मुख्य चाहिँ हामीले छलफल चलाएका विषयहरु यिनै हुन्
So another thing that the commission has carried out as its mandate is have stakeholder discussions across Nepal with Tharu people on Kamlari issues, Bagha, how to disintegrate data based on indigenous people, Tharu people. And I think there were other issues that I think I missed. Suruma ki भन्नु छ Kamlari भन्दा अगाडि
Kamaiya, Kamlari.
Kamaiyaको issuesहरु, Kamlariको the issues on Kamlari and Kamaiyas and how to reintegrate in the society. So these are the how to say different stakeholder engagement that the commission has done over the course of the year with Tharu people across the country.
अब अहिले हामी खास गरी छलफलहरुमा जाँदाखेरि देशभरि चाहिँ छलफलहरु गर्दाखेरि मुख्य समस्याहरु चाहिँ थारू समुदायको हामीले पहिचान गरेका छौं र त्यस विषयमा हाम्रो ध्यान केन्द्रित भएको छ। म यसमा चाहिँ मुद्दावाही हिसाबबाट राख्न चाहन्छु। एक नम्बरमा चाहिँ मुख्यतः बसाइसराईका कारण पुर्खौली भूमिबाट विस्थापित हुँदै गएको, प्राकृतिक स्रोत साधनबाट वञ्चित हुँदै गएको तथा ऐतिहासिक सांस्कृतिक सम्पदा र संस्कृति संरक्षणमा गम्भीर चुनौतीहरू खडा भएको अवस्था छ। यो हामीले एक नम्बरमा यो विषय चाहिँ पहिचान गरेका छौं।
म translate गर्छु सर। So like based on their studies, based on their what do you call engagement with Tharu people across the country, there were a couple of issues that the commission has identified, and one of them are the movement, the migration of Tharu people across the country, which is they're leaving their ancestral land and going somewhere else. And the second one is access to natural resources, and it's becoming challenging to have that access that the ancestors had. And this was I forgot.
ऐतिहासिक सांस्कृतिक सम्पदा संस्कृति संरक्षणमा चुनौतीहरू खडा भयो।
So there is a difficulty in preserving and conserving the Tharu history, oral history, and artifacts. Yeah, so those are the things. Item number 1.
अर्को चाहिँ कृषि पेशामा आबद्ध थारू समुदायमा भूमिहीन हुने क्रम बढेको तथा अन्य पेशामा अपेक्षित रूपमा आबद्धता हुन नसक्दा मुख्यतः अदक्ष मजदुरको रूपमा काम गर्न बाध्य भइरहेको अवस्था छ।
Also, next challenge that the commission has identified based on their research and the stakeholder engagement is that the Tharu people who are engaged in agriculture, they are becoming landless over time, and the incidences are much more. And the third one is in other sector, the Tharu people are working as laborers in other sectors, and they're finding it difficult to integrate into the technical jobs and things like that. So they work as a labor.
थारू समुदायमा बधुवा मजदुरको रूपमा रहेको कमैया कमलरी प्रथाबाट मुक्तिको घोषणा गरिए पनि सरकारबाट पुनर्स्थापनाको कार्य अझै पूरा भएको छैन।
So the people who were declared free from the bonded labor, the Kamlari Kamaiya system, they are still struggling to reintegrate into the society, and the Nepal government had promised different things for their economic rights. It hasn't been achieved so far. So there are a lot of challenges when it comes to meet the demands or the aspirations of the freed Kamaiya and Kamlari people.
नेपालमा थारू समुदायमा मात्र देखा परेको वंशानुगत सिकल सेल एनिमिया तथा थैलासेमिया रोग जनस्वास्थ्य समस्याको रूपमा रहेको।
So another issue that is coming a lot is sickle cell anemia issue, and the second part
थैलासेमिया संवैधानिक व्यवस्था भए पनि मुख्यतः समानुपातिक समावेशिता, मातृभाषा शिक्षा तथा सामाजिक सांस्कृतिक संरक्षण वा आर्थिक विकासका लागि विशेष संरक्षित वा स्वायत्त क्षेत्रको व्यवस्था नेपाल सरकारबाट व्यवस्थित रूपमा कार्यान्वयन भएको अवस्था छैन। यो चाहिँ संविधान कार्यान्वयनको विषय चाहिँ व्यवस्थित भएन भन्ने हिसाबबाट चाहिँ पूर्णतः कार्यान्वयन नभएको अवस्था चाहिँ इंगित गरेको छ।
So he mentioned that the autonomous region that was indicated hasn't happened yet, and the education and in Tharu languages has not been implemented. So yeah,
संविधानमा आफ्ना अधिकार स्थापित गर्न भएको आन्दोलनको क्रममा भएको टिकापुर घटनालाई आयोगले राजनीतिक घटनाको रूपमा लिएको छ र राजनीतिक रूपमा नै समाधान गरिनुपर्छ भन्ने मान्यता आयोगको रहेको छ।
So that the commission confirms that the Tikapur incident that happened in 2015 the commission claims that it's a political issue, and we need to solve this politically as well.
यस विषयमा चाहिँ हामीले प्रतिवेदनमा पनि सरकारलाई सिफारिस गरिसकेको अवस्था हो। राजनीतिक ढङ्गले समाधान खोजिनुपर्छ भन्ने हिसाबबाट र समग्र चाहिँ थारू समुदाय यो घटनाबाट अलिकति प्रभावित छ र सबै समुदाय चाहिँ तरङ्गित रहेको अवस्था छ। यसलाई चाँडोभन्दा चाँडो समाधान गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने हिसाबबाट पनि हामीले यसको चाहिँ हामीले सिफारिस पनि गरेका छौँ र त्यो चाहिँ हामीले छलफल पनि गरिराखेका छौँ।
So what the commission has done, they have recommended Nepal government to solve this issue as soon as possible, because it's creating a lot of fear among other groups as well, because it's unjust, and it has been recommended already by the commission to the Nepal government, and we're just waiting to see what happens.
यिनै विषयहरू हुन्। धन्यवाद।
So these are the topics that the commission has been working on, and thank you everyone. That's what he said. So Vishnu sir, thank you so much for your time and for your very detailed presentation on the issues and challenges that Tharu people are facing, and the continuous effort that you and your team are doing to support the cause of Tharu people. And it's how to say, it's so good to hear what Tharu Commission stands for. And thank you so much for all the work that you do, and thank you to all your team members who are working really hard to uplift where Tharu are today. So basically I just congratulated you for all the work. तपाईले जे पनि काम गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। तपाई जस्तो मान्छेहरूले गर्दा हामी पनि एकदम उत्साहित छौं, अनि हामी नेपालमा नभए पनि हाम्रो सपोर्ट जहिले पनि हाम्रो मातृभूमि हाम्रो समुदायलाई रहिरहनेछ, अनि हामी पनि यहाँ अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय लेभलमा हरेक ठाउँमा थारूको इस्युलाई चाहिँ हामीले उठाउँछौं। So it's एकदम राम्रो collaboration हो। It's a good collaboration that we all came together. अनि एकदम ऊर्जा मिलेको छ तपाईहरुसँग यस्तो सहकार्य गर्दाखेरि, अनि तपाईहरुको कुरा सुनेर it's very energizing and very के भन्छ हौसला मिलेको छ हैन। So धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद।
And yeah, so Anil, should I pass it to you? Where are we at with the time?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brice, for great moderation of the session, and thank you all the speakers for very insightful, for enlightening, highlighting the issues that Tharu Indigenous peoples have been experiencing, the challenges, the hurdles they are getting in the process of getting their justice, their in the process of even for the survival. So thank you for that. So now it's time for the Q&A. So let's have maybe 20 minutes or even 15 minutes of question and answer session if anyone has any questions. So I request everyone to put hands and ask questions to respective presenters, panelists. Okay, I see hands up by Kamlesh. So Kamlesh, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for the great presentation. I learned a lot today. However, as Tharu youth living abroad, I would suggest Tharu Commission to create programs and activities to engage the Tharu youths living abroad. Similarly, I would also suggest that Tharu Commission requests expert mechanism on the rights of indigenous people at the Human Rights Council to visit Nepal and support Nepal in implementing the United Nations Declaration on the rights of indigenous people. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamlesh, for your questions. And yeah, if you have any response, please, you can add. Or it's basically a suggestion. So thank you so much, Kamlesh, for your recommendation and suggestions. Now I see hands by Rakesh. So I request Rakesh to, yeah, please put your mics on and share your question or any suggestions if you have.
Thank you, Ani sir. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity, and thanks for all the panelists and the speaker. So especially thank to all. So very wonderful presentations. So very insightful, and we learn lots of things. And especially I would like to thanks to Lovekant Chaudhary. So wonderful presentations. I'm really impressed with him because he talked about that kinds of the identity, but through by the paintings, how our emotions and subjectivity to interpret in the society. So it's a very deeply, so how the cultures is rooted. So it's a very insightful, and to talk about these sculptures and painting. Yeah, and also I thanks to Vishnu sir. Vishnu sir, let's talk about that. So very important things. So 5 important things. I don't want to repeat that, but especially I thank to be also Dr. Umakant sir, and the also to be redefined and to identify and to reread the history of the identity and to politics, how we have to identify. So it's my questions and to curiosity where we are, where is our space? Because it's political issues, and in the case of the Resam Chaudhary, and the case of the political issues, geopolitics, but how? So where is the Tharu? How we have to be get the right? Well, how we have to get the justice? So it's my questions. So all of you, you can give the answer for all the participants and the also to the panelists. Anyway, so we have to talk about. We have to talk because it's a vibrant issue. So we have to be, they scattered from this way. So how we have to be get the justice through by the power or politics, by force or through by the community, how we have to be raise the voice for the justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rakesh. I'll just translate a little bit so that the Vishnu sir might be, could participate fully. So Vishnu sir, उहाँले के भन्नुभयो भन्दाखेरि के अरे थारूहरूको स्थान कहाँ छ त अहिले in reference to हाम्रो यो injustice, in reference to हाम्रो के अरे यो रेशम चौधरीको कुराले लिएर हामी कहाँ छौँ त politically, हाम्रो स्थान के त, हामी यो अन्यायबाट कसरी अगाडि जाने. So if you have any comments, sir, Vishnu sir, please feel free to answer. But anybody in the panelist or anybody in the participants list, feel free to answer. Back to you, Anil, sorry.
हजुर, अब यो पोलिटिकली अब एउटा अब टिकापुरको घटनाको विषय जहाँसम्म उठिराखेका छ, यो वास्तवमा हामीले पटक पनि छलफल गरिराखेका छौँ. अब राजनीतिक दलहरूले अब चुनाव आयो भने प्रतिबद्धता जाहेर गरेको अवस्था पनि छ सबै दलहरूले, तर चाहिँ समाधानको हिसाबबाट चाहिँ फेरि कोही पनि अग्रसर भइराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ हामीले पाइराखेका छैनौँ. समग्रमा हेर्दाखेरि के हो भने अब संविधान निर्माणकै क्रममा भएको यो एउटा आन्दोलनको क्रममा भएको घटना हो र त्यसलाई त्यही ढङ्गले अब पोलिटिकल्ली यसलाई चाहिँ व्यवस्थित ढङ्गले चाहिँ छलफल गरेर हल गर्न सकिन्छ. अहिलेको अब समग्र देशभरि हेर्दाखेरि जस्तो अवस्था के छ भने अब कानुनी ट्रिटमेन्टमा मात्रै चाहिँ राज्यले ध्यान दिइराखेको छ हैन. आपराधिक घटनाको हिसाबबाट चाहिँ त्यसलाई ट्रिटमेन्ट गर्ने, त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ अगाडि बढाउने जो कार्य चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म त्यो हिसाबबाट अगाडि बढिराखेको छ. त्यो उसमा चाहिँ थारू समुदायको असन्तुष्टि रहिराखेको छ र यो असन्तुष्टि रहिराख्यो भने अब यो राज्यको समग्र देशलाई नै, समुदायलाई नै, समग्र एउटा राज्यलाई नै यसमा चाहिँ प्रभावित गर्ने र त्यसले चाहिँ नकारात्मक स्थितितिर लैजान्छ. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यसलाई चाँडोभन्दा चाँडो यो थारू समुदायको मनोभावनालाई सम्बोधन गर्दै राज्यले एउटा निकास दिनुपर्छ भन्ने हो। अब त्यसमा चाहिँ विभिन्न उपायहरू हुन सक्छन् हैन, त्यो त सरकारले आफैले खोज्ने कुराहरू हुन्छ। अब यहाँ फुलमानजीको उसमा पनि ती कुराहरू आएका छन्, के कसरी चाहिँ त्यसलाई स्टेप बाई स्टेप अगाडि बढ्न सकिन्छ भन्ने हिसाबबाट विभिन्न सुझावहरू लिन सकिन्छ। त्यो हिसाबबाट एउटा मान्यता सहित चाहिँ हामी समाधान गर्छौं भन्ने हिसाबबाट चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्ने हो भने विभिन्न उपायहरू निस्किन सक्छन् र त्यो हिसाबबाट सरकारले सोच्नुपर्छ भन्ने हो।
म एकछिन ट्रान्सलेट गर्छु है सरको कुरा। के अरे what the honorable Vishnu sir spoke about is that so state and many political parties who are in the power, they have shown interest in the case of Resam Chaudhary, but they are not very concrete. The state has taken the issue as a criminal case, not a political case. So there are different ways to work, find solution to this. And the state has many mechanisms as well, but at the same time, Mr. Fulman Chaudhary also mentioned different mechanisms that exist externally, which Nepal is party to. So we can use those mechanisms as well. There's a lack of political will at the Nepal government. So but we are finding ways to push for justice. Back to you, Anil.
Thank you. I see hands from Rakesh. Yeah, Rakesh, yeah, please take your floor for your question.
No, I already said.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, any more questions from the floor?
Fulman sir.
Anilji?
Yes.
Can you give
go
me
ahead? Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Just I want to respond, Rakesh. It's really important what the Rakesh raised here. Of course, we really sometimes for my side, if you ask me about the Tharu people's position to be engaging to gain the rights from the state and other from the other parts of the globe. Just I would like to, I already mentioned about some convention, treaties and declaration, which is the signatory from the Nepal government. So that convention, treaties and declaration and agreement has already mentioned about how to ensure the rights of indigenous people, including the Tharu people. Like the International Convention of the Civil and Political Rights. This convention also very important for the Nepal, because Nepal is a signatory party, and other is the ILO Convention. ILO Convention has a very particular and very specific provision. If you go through the ILO Convention 169, you will get the very specific provision that is clearly mentioned about the autonomy system, self-determination, and cultural rights, and other so many. So that we are trying to pressurize to the Nepal government. The Nepal government should apply this convention. So we are trying to. We already raised this issue during this 15th session of the Indigenous Expert Mechanism on Rights of Indigenous People, which is happening right now from July 4th and until the 8th July. So we are still trying to include and incorporate our issue during this session, where the applicable for the Tharu people. So we have also International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. This is also very good convention. Nepal has already ratified. So these are the main convention that our rights are already ensured in the convention. But thing is that we don't see the proper action from the state. So right now, if we do collaboratively and collectively to take the action from our side, member state and other international agencies. So at the moment, we need to collaborate each other and to receive our achievement and our commitment. So just I would like to remind you, these are the main convention that is very relevant for Tharu people, not only Tharu people, all indigenous peoples. So this is my response to the Rakesh.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Fulman, for your wonderful response and addressing the questions that Rakesh had. I see hands by Rosen. So Rosenji, take your floor for your question and any recommendations if you have.
Thank you everyone for arranging this meeting, and I'm happy to be part of it. Excellent presentation by Lafkan, and obviously a lot of information that came from Fulmanji, Dr. Uma, and obviously from Bishnoji. What I want to, I would like to make a comment on what Fulman Chowdhury said. Like, obviously there are mechanisms, and at the same time, what we know is like Commissioner Dr. Uma said that yes, there are mechanisms not only at international levels but also at state levels. There are constitutions that that gives us provisions. In the meantime, like Dr. Uma at this, and also Honorable Bishnoji stated that education, literacy is one of the challenges. So this is like we have the provisions, but at the same time, either we are not aware because of the low literacy level that we have, or even if we are aware, either there is a lack of political will to implement that. So my question to Dr. Uma and to Mr. Bishnoji, in this context, since they are both related to the Tharu Commission, which obviously I'm sure that plays a very, very important and vital role to bring justice to the people of Tharu community, how do they see that the challenge, how do they see that this challenge can be tackled, people can be made aware, and like how this implementation can be done more effectively? Forget more effectively. Because I think implementation is a challenge not only in Nepal. This is very obvious even in India. So that we know, like it has been shared to Fulman Chowdhury many times, and we know how it is. So how do Dr. Uma and Honorable Bishnoji see this? Like, to how exactly they see that? How can this be effectively implemented, whether by political will or by the struggle maybe the people have to go through once again. So that's my comment and a little clarification from these two gentlemen.
Thank you, Roshan, for your great question. Actually, to just I can summarize. Please.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, just to briefly summarize to especially हाम्रो माननीय विष्णु सरको लागि विशेष गरी रोशनको प्रश्न र जिज्ञासा चाहिँ केमा थियो भने हाम्रो जनजातिहरुमा विशेष गरी थारू जनजातिमा शिक्षाको पहुँच एकदमै न्यून छ हैन, न्यून भएको अवस्थामा र विभिन्न चुनौतीहरु अहिले हामीले छलफल गरिसक्यौं, तपाईहरुले यहाँ शेयर गर्नु भएको थियो। अनि विशेष गरी राज्यबाट र थारू समुदायको लागि चाहिँ कसरी के गर्न सकिन्छ यस्तो अवस्थामा, विशेष गरी अब पोलिटिकली हुन्छ कि वा चाहिँ के गर्दाखेरि होइन अब थारू समुदायलाई अगाडि वा पहुँच बढाउन सकिन्छ, जबकि शिक्षाको पहुँच एकदमै न्यून छ थारू समुदायमा। यो नेपाल मात्र होइन कि अब ग्लोबली अरू इन्डियामा, भारतमा पनि थारू समुदाय वा चाहिँ यस्तै जनजाति समुदायमा शिक्षाको पहुँच एकदमै न्यून भएको अवस्थामा कसरी चाहिँ कस्तो रणनीतिहरू, कस्तो स्ट्राटेजीहरू चाहिँ ल्याउन सकिन्छ भन्ने किसिमको प्रश्न थियो, जिज्ञासा थियो।
अलिकति एड गरौँ है।
हुन्छ।
अनि सर के अरे हाम्रो के अरे उहाँ रोशन सरले के भन्नु भन्दाखेरि सबै मेकानिजमहरू छ कि नेपालको सरकारको हाम्रो संविधान छ होइन, अनि इन्टरनेसनली यति धेरै नियम नीतिहरू छन्। यसलाई चाहिँ अब हाम्रो थारू कमिसनले अथवा तपाईँको हाम्रो स्टेक होल्डरहरूले यसलाई चाहिँ यो के अरे के भन्छ मेकानिजम र यो नियम नीतिहरूलाई युज गरेर कसरी हामी हाम्रो थारू समुदाय अथवा आदिवासी जनजातिको के अरे उत्थान गर्ने भनेर थारू कमिसनको के छ प्लान अथवा उपाय अथवा एक्सन प्लान अथवा हुन्छ नि तपाईँहरूको कमेन्ट?
शिक्षासँग जहाँसम्म जोडिएको विषय छ, अब यसमा चाहिँ के छ भने साक्षरता दर चाहिँ अब थारूहरूको बढी नै राखेको छ, तर अब गुणस्तरीय हिसाबबाट चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्नु पर्ने हो, त्यो चाहिँ एउटा चुनौती भएको छ। जस्तो ड्रप आउट हुने समस्या चाहिँ छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अब जस्तो अहिले चाहिँ देशैभरि हेर्दाखेरि पढाउनु पर्छ भन्ने एउटा जागरण चाहिँ आयो र पढाउने त्यो चाहिँ देखियो होइन, तर अलिकति हायर लेभलमा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ ड्रप आउट हुने छोड्दै जाने र हाम्रो चाहिँ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि प्रतिस्पर्धात्मक क्षमताको कुरा हो, त्यो चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न सकिरहेको छैन। यो चुनौती चाहिँ हाम्रो समुदायको त्यो देखिन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ अब समग्र प्रगतिको हिसाबबाट हेर्दाखेरि जस्तो थारू समुदाय एउटा कृषि पेसामा आबद्ध रहेको अवस्था छ। खास गरिकन यो एउटा हामीले विकासको कुरा ट्रेन्डलाई हेर्दाखेरि पनि जस्तो हाइवे जस्तो थारू समुदायकै बिचबाट चाहिँ पूर्व पश्चिम हाइवे चाहिँ सबभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ रोड बन्यो, तर त्यसको उपयोग हामीले गर्न सकेनौँ। हाइवे भयो, सहर विकास भयो, तर हामी विस्थापित त्यहाँबाट साइड लाग्यौँ अनि फेरि परम्परागत कृषिमा गएर चाहिँ अल्झिराखेका छौँ। समुदाय हाम्रो त्यो छ र अब अर्को पेसातिर आबद्ध हुन सकिरहेका छैन, अनि त्यस पछाडि फेरि परम्परागत कृषि, अनि त्यस पछाडि हाम्रो चाहिँ आर्थिक स्तर, जीवन स्तर उठ्ने कुरा हो, त्यो चाहिँ हुन सकिरहेका छैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि शिक्षामा पनि जस्तो नेपालको उसमा आउँदाखेरि जस्तो हाम्रो आर्थिक हैसियत छ, हामी धेरै जसो निम्न वर्ग नै छ, हाम्रो समुदाय निम्न वर्गमै छ। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि अब जस्तो हाम्रो चाहिँ उसमा सामुदायिक विद्यालयहरूमा अधिकभन्दा अधिक विद्यार्थीहरू चाहिँ पढ्ने समुदायबाट त्यहाँ अवस्था छ। अब सामुदायिक विद्यालयमा अब एउटा चाहिँ स्तर सुधार नहुने हो भने हाम्रो समग्र थारू समुदायकै अब शैक्षिक स्तर चाहिँ सुधार हुने अवस्था देखिँदैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो चुनौती चाहिँ समग्र देशमा हेर्दाखेरि त्यस्तो अवस्था रहिरहेको छ। र अर्को ढङ्गले अब जति हामी साक्षर भइसकेका युवाहरू पनि अब प्रतिस्पर्धामा नआउँदाखेरि रोजगारीमा छिर्न नसक्दाखेरिको एउटा निराशा देखिन्छ र त्यसले गर्दाखेरि फेरि चाहिँ पढेर के भएर भन्ने टाइपको चाहिँ एउटा निराशा हुने र अर्को ढङ्गले फेरि विस्थापित हुने स्थिति चाहिँ बनिरहेको छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अर्को पेसामा स्थानान्तरण कसरी गर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा चुनौती भइरहेको छ। त्यस पछाडि म भन्छु।
So what Honorable Vishnu Chaudhary spoke about is with reference to education. So education is, how to say, there is a great awareness among Tharu families that they should go to school, but when it comes to quality of education, it's not that great. But at the same time, I would say there is a big focus on education, and most of the kids who go to school, they are in the public sector. But the quality of education in public sector is not going to go very far when it comes to competitive jobs, and they find it very challenging to integrate into the competitive sector or technical sector where they can earn a good salary and a good living. So the challenge with education linked to employment job is very difficult. So there's a huge frustration among Tharu youths when it comes to finding a job. So they say that it's like a vicious circle. I study, but I don't get a job. What's the point of studying? So it rolls back again. And he also spoke about development. So in Nepal, when there was a east and west highway that was made, it went through Tharu homeland, but Tharu people didn't use it. They went back to the same agricultural profession, and that's what they have been doing so far. So Tharu people have not been able to integrate themselves into all the developments that have happened around them. So they are still marginalized when it comes to the formal sector of the economy. They are still the farmers that they have been doing for numbers of years. So, धन्यवाद सर, अब तपाईको statement फेरि।
अर्को विषय चाहिँ के राख्नु भएको थियो रे यो मैले ठ्याक्कै
conventionहरू सर, convention and then constitution, how can Tharu Commission use this to
हजुर हजुर ठिक। अब यो विषयमा चाहिँ कस्तो भइराखेको छ भने जस्तो अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सन्धि सम्झौताहरू छन्, आइलो कन्भेन्सनका कुराहरू छन्, अनरिपका कुराहरू छन्। अब यो विषयमा चाहिँ अब जस्तो कार्यान्वयन भएन भन्ने हिसाबबाट चाहिँ अब आदिवासी जनजाति आयोग, थारू आयोग, आदिवासी जनजाति उत्थान राष्ट्रिय प्रतिष्ठान र अब सम्बन्धित मन्त्रालय, खास गरिकन अब सङ्घीय मामिला मन्त्रालय, मानवाधिकार आयोग यो बसेर एउटा समन्वय समिति बनाएको थियो छलफल भएर, र यसले चाहिँ केही अध्ययनको कामहरू र ड्राफ्ट गर्ने हिसाबबाट चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्यो। त्यो ड्राफ्ट प्राप्त भएको छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ अगाडि बढाउन चाहिँ सकिराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ छैन, यो अल्झिराखेको छ। तर यो विषयमा एउटा सरकारलाई अलिकति जागरुक गराउने, पुस गर्ने हिसाबबाट पनि कोसिस गर्न खोजिया हो, तर पोलिटिकल सिचुएसन चाहिँ त्यति राम्रो भइराखेको छैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न सकिराखेको अवस्था छैन। अर्को चाहिँ जस्तो वन मन्त्रालयले अब जस्तो यो आनुवंशिक अधिकार, यो के अरे प्राकृतिक स्रोत साधन आनुवंशिक यो अधिकार सम्बन्धी लाभको बाँडफाँड सम्बन्धी चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ ऐन बनाउन खोजिराखेको छ र त्यो विषयमा पनि प्रक्रियाहरू अगाडि बढेको छ, तर त्यो पनि फाइनल हुन सकिराखेको अवस्था छैन। अब यो विषयहरू एकातिर छन् भने अर्कोतिर जस्तो संविधानमै भएको व्यवस्थाहरू अघि पनि मैले राखेँ हैन, मातृभाषा शिक्षा, समानुपातिक समावेशिताको कुराहरू, अब जस्तो यो विशेष क्षेत्र स्वायत्त क्षेत्रको कुराहरू चाहिँ यो कार्यान्वयन हुन सकिराखेको छैन। अब समानुपातिक समावेशिताको हिसाबबाट हेर्दाखेरि जस्तो राजनीतिक तहमा चाहिँ केही हदसम्म कार्यान्वयन भएको अवस्था छ, रोजगार क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ त्यो थारूको हकमा अगाडि बढ्न सकिराखेको अवस्था छैन, त्यो अल्झिराखेको छ। र केही हदसम्म चाहिँ छात्रवृत्तिको कुराहरू चाहिँ अब खास गरी आरक्षणको हिसाबबाट अगाडि बढेको छ। यो पूर्णतः सबै खास गरी अपेक्षा चाहिँ रोजगार क्षेत्रमा छ, तर त्यो चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न नसकिराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ यो रहेको छ। अब यो विषयमा छलफल पनि चलिराखेको छ र खास गरिकन कानुन बनाउन नसके, सङ्घीय निजामती ऐन आउन नसक्दाखेरिको एउटा चुनौती चाहिँ रहिराखेको छ। त्यो प्रक्रियामै छ, त्यो कहिले संसदभित्र छिर्छ, फेरि बाहिर आउँछ। अहिले चाहिँ फेरि चाहिँ संसदमा गइसकेपछि फेरि चाहिँ मन्त्रालयमा आएको छ र त्यो चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न सकिराखेको अवस्था छैन। मोटामोटी यिनी कुराहरू छन्। अब मातृभाषा शिक्षाको हिसाबबाट हामीले आवश्यकता के ठानिराखेका छौँ भने मातृभाषामा एउटा चाहिँ शिक्षामा गुणस्तर कायम गर्नको लागि पनि जस्तो मातृभाषामा शिक्षा चाहिँ दिन आवश्यक छ। बच्चाहरूलाई खास गरिकन बच्चामा मातृभाषामा चाहिँ शिक्षा दिन आवश्यक छ र त्यो हिसाबबाट चाहिँ मातृभाषा शिक्षाको एउटा चाहिँ विकासक्रम त्यसरी अगाडि बढाउनु पर्छ र हायर लेभलमा आउँदाखेरि अब शैक्षिक हुन सक्छ। तर सानो बच्चा उसलाई चाहिँ कुनै पनि ज्ञान सिकाउँदाखेरि अङ्ग्रेजी सिकाओस्, विज्ञान सिकाओस् हैन, अथवा गणित सिकाओस् अथवा नेपाली भाषा नै अरू भाषा नै सिकाओस् हैन, तर मातृभाषामा त्यो सिकाउँदै गयो भने अरू सिकाइ क्षमताको वृद्धि हुन्छ र त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ मातृभाषाको क्लास लैजानुपर्छ भन्ने हिसाबबाट हामीले चाहिँ कुरा राखिराखेका छौँ, तर त्यो हिसाबबाट चाहिँ व्यवस्था हुन सकिराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ छैन।
थ्याङ्क यू सर। म ट्रान्सलेट गरौँ, मैले नत्र बिर्सिन्छु म तपाईँले भनेको कुराहरू सबै। So what Honorable Vishnu sir just spoke about is so there are different coordination that the Tharu Commission organized between the Ministry of different I would say indigenous commissions, to move forward with all the conventions that the Nepal government have signed, but it's all lost in bureaucracy and it takes time. So, but Commission has never stopped working on that, and it's pushing for all these meetings. But the government of Nepal, there is a different will, and it just slow. And there are a lot of things that has changed, like for instance, or are there in the agenda and what the Commission is trying to push. One of them is mother tongue, the addition of mother tongue in school curriculum. So they have been pushing for those agenda items in the government of Nepal, so that the learning of indigenous kids in their own mother tongue happens at an early age, and their learning abilities becomes even higher because they understand schooling in their own language, so they don't have to learn a different language right at the primary level. So that's that. And then there are a lot of provisions within the Constitution that identifies indigenous people's rights, and also creating self-autonomous region for different indigenous people and ethnic groups. But it hasn't happened. It takes time. It hasn't, the government hasn't, how to say, moved ahead with it. There is a lot of obstacles on those things. And one of the another thing that that was mentioned was about representation in the government of Nepal, the proportional representation in the job sector. Indigenous people are still not well represented. It's very few people who are working in the government, even at the leadership level as well. So what the Constitution of Nepal says hasn't had happened. So there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah, I think summarize that, sir. Now it's all you.
अहिले त अरू विषय छैन के अरे, यिनी कुराहरू भयो हैन।
धन्यवाद। Thank you so much, Vishnu sir. And back to you, Anil.
Thank you. So we have some distinguished delegates in our session today. So I would like to acknowledge their presence, and if you have anything to share, please feel free, unmute yourself and come forward. But now we'd like to welcome and acknowledge your presence. Miriam Wallet, who is a former chair of United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. So we'd like to welcome in our session today. Similarly, Laurie Johnston, who has been also a member of the same forum, and Hannah Mogani. So thank you for your time and valuable presence in today's session. Now I see hand of Sandeep. Do you have any questions? I think that will be the final question before we are about to close our session. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, good evening, everybody. Good night. As we are from Nepal, so it's a midnight here. As we all are from all over the globe, so there might somebody might be in morning. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank Brijlal Chaudhary for inviting me in such a huge platform where I came to know lots of informations to the panelists who have shared their presentations. Thank you to all the panelists. Okay. And at last, I would like to thank all the team of Global Home for Indigenous People members. Okay, so people are doing a very great job. So after finishing this, I would just like to move on to my questions. Okay. First of all, I would like to start with that. I have gone through some studies that Tharu people, that Tharu people have already, they have been access to the power. Okay,
And my question is basically for Honorable Mr. Vishnu Prasad Chaudhary. He is the chair of Tharu Commission and also he's a politically has political background. So my question goes towards him that the Tharu people has always in the access to the to the power. They have the right from the very beginning. I hope so. When there was the monarchy, they have the access to the darbar, to the direct connection to the kings. Right. So please do correct me. I think so. It may be Padam Narayan Chaudhary. So and still to nowadays, still to the present days, there are Tharus who are still politically active. They are in ministries. Okay, but what I came to know that those people who are in power, they I think so, they are not much responsible towards the upliftment of their own community. Though we belong to a marginalized community, my question is basically what Tharu Commission is doing, for the economic upliftment of the Tharu community. As Vishnu sir already tell that when the east-west highway construction has been done, the Tharu people has been replaced, or they could not just uh, take the benefits of those infrastructural developments, and they have been replaced replaced from those. What I think so that we the Tharu community has been, I see that there has been a threat as the development has been going is going through to the inner Tharu community, the Hulaki Rajmarg. Okay, so it has been considered through the inner Tharuat region. Okay, and I am very much worried that within 5 or 10 years, we the Tharu people will lose our control over our resources. And the reason why the Tharu people or the Tharu youths cannot continue their education is one of the reason what I think that it is the economic problems, the scarcity that they have the responsibility to look after their families. Okay, so that's why they could not. So what Tharu Commission action plan is for the economic development or of the Tharu community? First question. Okay. Second question, what I think is that we have been already being a youth, we have already being socialized by that you study and you do a job. Okay, something like that. But I'm a youth of 36 years old. Nobody have even told that no, you should develop your entrepreneurship skills. So what Tharu Commission has anything plan so that you people can encourage the Tharu youth for the development of their entrepreneurship skills. This should incline in entrepreneurship, do business, create jobs. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You people belong to the you adopt the same the in agriculture sector, but even that agriculture sector can be also converted into what commercial farming, or we can educate them to convert those kind of traditional agriculture into entrepreneurship. Okay, so what Tharu commissions or is doing in those fields? What is your plan?
Thank you, Sandeep sir, for your really great question. So Vishnu sir, I'll just translate it for you. म ट्रान्सलेट गर्छु तपाईहरुको लागि हैन. So सन्दीप चौधरीले एकदम राम्रो प्रश्न गर्नुभएको छ हैन. अनि उहाँले के सोध्नुहुन्छ भने हामीले थारू एकदम पछाडी पर्यौं भनेर भन्छौं हैन. तर थारूको के सत्तासँग त जहिले पनि निकटता रहेको थियो. राजाकालीनदेखि हैन थारूसँग निकटता त थियो. अहिले पनि हाम्रो संविधान सभामा तपाई पनि कतिचोटी हाम्रो मन्त्री पनि हुनुभएको छ, तपाईको पनि एक्सेस छ. अनि नेपाली काङ्ग्रेस एमाले होइन के अरे हरेक क्षेत्र हरेक पोलिटिकल पार्टीमा त थारूको के अरे लिडरसिप त छ, संविधान सभा छन्, तैपनि हामी किन हाम्रो सिचुएसन किन यस्तो होइन, हामीले किन यति डिस्क्रिमिनेसन खप्नु परेको। अनि दोस्रो कुरा के भन्दाखेरि थारू कमिसनले थारू युवाहरूको लागि र उनीहरूको इकोनोमिक के अरे आर्थिक उत्थानको लागि के कस्ता कार्यक्रमहरू के अरे बनाएको छ, तपाईँको थारू कमिसनको वर्क प्लान के त यो क्षेत्रमा हुन्छ नि। सो त्यही हो क्वेसन सर होइन। अब उमा सरले पनि उत्तर दिन सक्नुहुन्छ अथवा विष्णु सर पनि होइन। सो प्लिज।
मैले उमा सर हुनुहुन्छ, मैले राखौँ त हुन्छ। प्रश्नको लागि धन्यवाद। अब यसमा के छ भने पोलिटिकल्ली चाहिँ सहभागिता त अलिकति चाहिँ भइराखेको अवस्था नै छ विगतको हेर्दाखेरि र पछिल्लो उसमा आउँदाखेरि त्यो सहभागिता चाहिँ ठिकै छ पोलिटिकली हिसाबबाट हेर्दाखेरि। तर चाहिँ अब मेन उसमा चाहिँ नेतृत्व तहमा मुख्यतः नीति निर्माणको उसमा आउँदाखेरि जो प्रभाव पार्ने हुन्छ पार्टीभित्रको उसमा पनि राज्यको उसमा पनि त्यसमा चाहिँ थारू नेतृत्व चाहिँ अलि त्यसमा पुग्न सकिराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ छैन। यद्यपि चाहिँ अब मन्त्रीसम्म चाहिँ भइराखेको अवस्था चाहिँ देखिन्छ होइन। अब तर त्यसले मात्रै सबै कुराहरू चाहिँ निर्णायक भइहाल्छ भन्ने चाहिँ देखिँदैन। खास गरिकन पार्टीभित्रको चाहिँ नेतृत्व उसमा निर्णायक नहुँदासम्म एउटा पोलिसी मेकिङमा त्यो चुनौती रहन्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि एउटा चुनौती त्यो हो। तर अब अर्को चाहिँ समग्रमा हाम्रो समुदाय भर्खरै चाहिँ अलिकति शिक्षामा चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न खोजिराखेको अवस्था छ होइन, भर्खरै चाहिँ अगाडि सरिराखेको छ। मुख्य कुरा चाहिँ शिक्षाकै एउटा चेतना स्तरले नै त्यसले प्रभाव पार्छ समुदायको हिसाबबाट हेर्दाखेरि। त्यो एउटा चुनौती चाहिँ हामीले भोगिराखेका छौँ, अहिले पनि त्यो चुनौती रहिराखेको छ, त्यो विषयमा छलफल भइसकेको छ। समग्र उसलाई उठाउँदाखेरि अब समग्र समुदायको प्रतिनिधित्व एक दुईजनाले मात्रै गरिहाल्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हुँदैन होइन। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि अब त्यसमा चाहिँ हामी त्यो हिसाबबाट एउटा त पार्टीको नेतृत्व तहमा चाहिँ थारू समुदायको प्रभाव के कति रहिराखेको छ, नीति निर्माण उसमा आउँदाखेरि पार्टीले नै गाइड गर्ने हो खास गरिकन व्यवस्थामा। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि त्यो विषयले नै एउटा प्रभाव पार्ने कुराहरू रहन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ हाम्रो अब युवाहरूको हकमा चाहिँ मलाई लागिराखेको के हो भने यद्यपि हाम्रो चाहिँ म्यान्डेट चाहिँ छैन होइन, हामीले नै कार्यक्रम सञ्चालन गर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ त्यो छैन। हामीले सिफारिस गर्छौँ अध्ययन अनुसन्धान गरेर त्यो हिसाबबाट के कस्तो कार्यक्रमहरू चलाउन आवश्यक छ भन्ने हिसाबबाट 3 तहको सरकारलाई हामीले सिफारिस गर्ने। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ अब सरकारले कार्यक्रम राख्यो भने त्यो सिफारिसको अर्थ रहन्छ, नभए त फेरि चाहिँ त्यसै अलपत्र पर्ने अवस्था रहन सक्छ होइन। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि अब हामीले यो समस्याहरू के हुन् भन्ने हिसाबबाट एउटा एनालाइसिस गर्ने र त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ सिफारिस गर्ने गर्दछौँ। यसमा अब यो विषयमा धेरै छलफल पनि भइसकेको छ कि हामी चाहिँ परम्परागत कृषिमै निर्भर भइराखेका छौँ होइन। त्यसो हुँदाखेरि व्यावसायिक हिसाबबाट अर्को उसमा स्थानान्तरण हुने कुराहरू होइन। अब कृषि नेपालको एउटा चाहिँ व्यवस्थित हुन नसकिराखेका समग्र कृषिको कुरा गर्दाखेरि होइन, त्यो चुनौती त छँदैछ होइन। दुईटा ठुला अर्थतन्त्रले अब च्यापिराखेको अवस्थामा कृषि चाहिँ नेपालको चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न नसकिराखे। अब त्यसैमा हामी चाहिँ निर्भर भइराखेका छौँ, फेरि परम्परागत उसमै व्यवसायिक हुन सकिराखेका छैनौँ। त्यही गर्दाखेरि पनि व्यवसायिक हुन सकिराखेका छौँ। त्यसले समग्र उसमा चेतनामा पनि यसले चाहिँ हाम्रो चेतना स्तरले पनि त्यसको चाहिँ त्यसमा रोजगारीमा प्रभाव पार्छ एउटा विषय। र अर्को चाहिँ मलाई के लागिरहेको छ भने हाम्रो युवामा चाहिँ फ्युचर प्लान छैन कि। अब यता पश्चिमतिर म एउटा चाहिँ ऊ राख्छु होइन, त्यसमा चाहिँ अब कहानी के भनिदिन्छन् भने जस्तो आगत टिक्लक नै लागत भनेको अगाडि प्लान बनायो भने त्यो काम लाग्दैन त्यो प्लान भन्ने चाहिँ पुर्खाहरूले त्यो एउटा उखान टुक्का राख्छन् अहिले पनि त्यो चाहिँ कसले राख्यो त भन्ने चाहिँ मैले एउटा एनालाइसिस गर्दाखेरि त्यो अरूले सिकाएको, अरू षड्यन्त्र गर्ने अरू चाहिँ व्यक्तिहरूले त्यो सिकायो हैन। त्यसो गर्दाखेरि फ्युचर प्लान नै नबनाउने हाम्रो युवाहरूमा त्यस्तो स्थिति देखिराखेको छ। म के गर्छु, पढ्दाखेरि के गर्छु, भविष्यमा के हुन्छु भन्ने नै प्लानै छैन हामीसँग हैन। त्यस्तो स्थितिबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो समुदाय युवाहरू गुज्रिरहेको अवस्था छ। र त्यो नहुनुमा मैले चाहिँ चुनौती के देख्छु भने जस्तो हाम्रो एक्सेस भएन, बाहिर दुनियाँसँग हामी चाहिँ अलिकति घुलमिल भएनौँ, परिचित भएनौँ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हामीमा एउटा चाहिँ उत्साह हैन, एउटा चाहिँ जोस जाँगर र त्यो एउटा चाहिँ के भन्छन् इच्छा जाग्नु पर्ने हो हैन, आकांक्षा जाग्नु पर्ने हो, त्यो चाहिँ भइराखेको छैन। हामीले दुनियाँ हामीले हेर्दैनौँ हैन, त्यो एउटा क्लोज सोसाइटी भयो हाम्रो। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो चुनौती हामी भोगिरहेका छौँ र त्यसले गर्दाखेरि एउटा फ्युचर प्लान बनाएर कसरी जाने, त्यो अलिकति दुनियाँसँग परिचित कसरी गराउने, यो विषयमा पनि हाम्रो चुनौती छ। र त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ फ्युचर प्लान बनाउन समस्या भइरहेको छ कि आफ्नो भविष्य कोर्नमा समस्या भइरहेको छ कि भन्ने एउटा चाहिँ म देख्दछु। त्यो हिसाबबाट चाहिँ यो कुरा चाहिँ म राख्न चाहन्छु।
थ्याङ्क यू सर। म अब ट्रान्सलेट गरिदिन्छु है उहाँहरूको स्टेटमेन्टलाई हैन। सो thank you for your question, very interesting question. First of all, like of course there has been access to power or the parliament from Tharu people. We still have members of parliament, but at the same time they're not the leaders, they're not at the higher level where the policy is made or the party decides. So we have not gone to a level where the person decides about Tharu people. It's the party, it's the government who decides. So we still haven't got to that what you call the status where the Tharu people who are in the power or like who are in the government can decide good things for the Tharu people. At the same time, when there is when a Tharu person becomes a minister, is the same. Still, that person lacks decision-making power because still there is a lot of mandate from the party that comes along as well. So it's challenging. It's challenging when it comes to how to say representing Tharu people at the how to say decision-making steps. It's a challenge. And when it comes to education of young people, how to say there is awareness that people are going to school and all that, but how would I say it? The agriculture is still the main dominant sector where all the Tharu people are employed. Most of the Tharu people are employed, and the young people also lacks a vision. There is less exposure for them to integrate into the rest of the economic, how to say, society, the economic infrastructure of the country. So there's a less plan, less imagination among our young people because they don't have a good exposure to the rest of the world. So it's a challenge there as well. And what the commission does when it comes to its mandate, it can only recommend, it can only suggest to the government based on their research, based on their findings. So that's the only thing the commission can do. It cannot implement a project. It will recommend to the government of Nepal, and they are at the different levels of the government, the federal, the regional, what do you call it, three layers of government at the local as well. So once they accept the recommendation and they implement, then the work starts. But the mandate of Tharu Commission is just to recommend, do research and just recommend to the Nepal government. So I think I summarized what Honorable Vishnu sir spoke.
Thank you. Please, I think, we are also running short of time, and also because it's very late for people in Nepal and also in that part like Asia region. So let me invite Dinesh for final question, and then we will go to wrap up session.
Hi everybody. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. My name is Denise, and I'm in California right now. I know Bridge since a long time, but it's been ages that we haven't spoken or met. But yeah, a lot of things that I got to know about the community and then the things that government and the community is doing in Nepal. But one thing that struck me was, all the incidents that the community is associated with, be it the state, how the state treats the community and how the Tikapur incident happened and everything. And I was very much impressed by Labkan's art and his way of expressing all the discrimination and everything that has been done to the community. But one thing I wanted to ask was, besides political and legal actions that the commission is trying to take in many different ways and fronts, is there anything that actually that's being, that the community itself or people from Tharu community or some other organization or community, is there anything that's being done to assert the to assert the identity of the community itself in the country? When I'm saying this because how state reacts to a certain incident or how how state treats a community, I think also very much depends upon how the rest of the people of the country treat the community, right? So I understand, me myself not being from the community itself, I've heard so much about the community. My father owned the land in Tarai, and he had somebody who worked on the land from a Tharu community. So, but I never got to meet the person actually in person, never in my life. The person worked for so many years, never got a chance to meet, right? And, I don't blame anybody in this, but I'm just trying to understand, like, is there anything on a social scale, on a very, let's say, small scale? It doesn't have to be big, like, let's say, a exchange program for primary students from the community or from, between Pahadis and from people from the Himalayas and everything. I'm just wondering if there's anything, I'm just asking this because I would like to kind of get involved in something if I can in the future. And I was just curious as to if something is actually happening on that front.
So I'll just translate it just so that everybody understands. Thank you, Dinesh, for your comments and really good question that you put here. And hello. So what Dineshले के भन्दैछ भन्दाखेरि के अरे नेपालमा हैन, like there are so many. It was very nice to के अरे म पनि दुई तीनवटा भाषा एकैचोटि बोल्दाखेरि कन्फ्युज भइरहेको छु. सो फर्स्ट अफ अल के अरे लकडाउनको चित्रहरू एकदम सान्दर्भिक छ अनि उसले आफ्नो भावनाहरूलाई एकदम राम्रोसँग प्रस्तुत गरेको छ अनि उसको हिस्ट्रीहरूको डिटेल स्टडी आर्ट मार्फत प्रस्तुत गर्दाखेरि एकदम उत्कृष्ट लाग्यो. अनि दोस्रो कुरा चाहिँ अब थारूहरू सप्रेस भएको छन् हैन, तर अरू समुदायहरूले के गर्ने त हुन्छ नि. अब नेपाल सरकारको कार्य के अरे शिक्षा क्षेत्रमा त्यो कुराहरू मेन्सन गर्ने अनि अरू समुदायहरूले कसरी यो इस्युलाई चाहिँ उठाउने, कसरी हामीले प्रचार प्रसार गर्ने कि यो इस्यु छ. अनि दिनेशको आमाबुवाले पनि तराईमा उसको जग्गा छ अनि उसको जग्गामा पनि थारूहरू काम गर्दै भयो, तर उसले भेट्न सकेन. तर न थारू मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ यो कुरालाई कसरी बुझाउने हुन्छ. अनि उसले अर्को कुरा के भन्दाखेरि अब नेपाल सरकारले जुन व्यवहार थारूहरूमाथि गर्यो टिकापुरको घटनाको क्रममा, अनि के अरे जेलमा परेको मान्छेहरू, त्यो भनेको हाम्रो समुदाय नै त्यस्तै छ भन्ने उसको धारणा छ. हैन। अब नेपाल सरकार हाम्रो इट्स अ रिफ्लेक्सन, हामीले भोट दिएर चुनेको सरकार त भनेपछि नेपाल सरकारले जस्तो जस्तो के अरे व्यवहार गर्यो थारूहरूमाथि, समाज पनि त्यस्तै व्यवहार गर्छ कि हैन। तर यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले कसरी समाधान गर्ने त एउटा उसको जिज्ञासा। सो एनीबडी हु वान्ट्स टु आन्सर, feel free to comment on the chat, or we can have say.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. This is just a general question, by the way. This is not, like directed to anybody. It's just my curiosity.
I can comment. Anil, if I have the time, like
go ahead. Yes, so, very short. Please.
So Dinesh, like I just mentioned in the chat that the Tharu Commission, because it has the comments door is open to Tharu Commissions, like suggestions and recommendations. So I think like there has to be, that country has to go through a deeper reconciliation, because the relationship between Tharu people and state is not good, it's not healthy, it's not the level of suppression explode, and I think like Tikapur Ghatna it's a proof. So all these structural injustices that are happening is building up, and it's time for Nepal government to educate the rest of the country so that their views change. हाम्रो थारूहरूको संस्कृति भनेको we just do welcome dance गर्न बोलाउँछ हैन। त्यसपछि थारू एथ्नोग्राफ के अरे म्युजियम छ त्यो टुरिज्म बोर्डको, there is a museum in tourism board where they put our Tharu people's culture and blah blah blah. That's the only education Nepal government is giving when it comes to their ethnic population. They are taking huge revenues from this tourism and selling the culture of ethnic people, or like the indigenous people. So I think there is a deeper need for Nepal government, and I think Tharu Commission ले पनि recommend गर्न सक्छ नेपाल सरकारलाई कि यो रिकन्सिलिएसन जुन छ नि के अरे थारूहरूको बारेमा रियल हिस्ट्री के त लभकान्तको स्टोरीहरू करिकुलममा आउनु पर्यो, बच्चाहरूलाई पढाउनु पर्यो हैन। अनि बल्ल हाम्रो के अरे मनसाय चेन्ज हुन्छ के। अनि we can only do this by education, हुन्छ नि जुन लेभलको समान स्तर हुन्छ नि बनाउनलाई we need to work through education. अनि नेपालमा त्यतिकै एजुकेसनको स्तर कम छ हैन। So but there are very many ways where we can educate people, हुन्छ नि just not people, we can educate judges, we can educate parliamentarians, हुन्छ नि यो indigenous rights को कुराहरुलाई लिएर. So there is a deeper need, हुन्छ नि। And Tharu Commission can recommend about, if you look at the statistics when it comes to judges, 95% of the judges in district court, appellate court, and Supreme Court are Brahmins and Kshatris. This is the reality. So they don't know what it is to be a Tharu woman. They don't know what it is to be a woman whose husband was killed in the Tikapur incident. So they need to be sensitized, even the parliamentarians. So Tharu Commission ले चाहिँ नेपाल सरकारलाई जजेसहरु के अरे पार्लियामेन्टर्सहरुलाई पनि यो लहरुमा इन्डिजिनस को लहरुमा सेन्सिटाइज गर्नुपर्ने, तालिम दिनुपर्ने के अरे जरुरी छ भनेर म आग्रह गर्छु सर विष्णु सर र उमाकान्त सर अनि सुबोध सर पनि मैले देखेको थिएँ कि so there are a lot of things that we can do together, and just establishing Tharu Commission is not the end of Tharu's problem. So I'll just make it short, Dinesh. Hopefully we'll talk someday when we meet.
Sure.
But these are the things. There's a lot of work to be done. Sorry. Yeah.
म यसमा अलिकति एड गर्दिउँ। यसको चाहिँ कस्तो छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब कसरी चाहिँ अब त्यो पुनर्स्थापना गर्ने हैन समाजलाई भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अहिले हाम्रो अब यो टिकापुरको हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि चाहिँ टिकापुरमा चाहिँ अहिले धेरै बहुमतले चाहिँ थारूहरुले विजय भएको छ हैन इलेक्सनमा चाहिँ। अनि उहाँहरुले चाहिँ के गरिराख्नु भएको छ भन्दाखेरि त्यहाँ त दुईटा समुदाय छ हैन, अब थारू समुदाय छ हैन, अनि अरु समुदायहरु छ। त्यो दुईटा समुदायलाई चाहिँ कसरी चाहिँ पुनर्स्थापना गर्ने, त्यो शान्ति कसरी ल्याउने भनेर चाहिँ उहाँहरूले चाहिँ वर्कआउट गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ थ्रु भनौँ न अब त्यहाँको समस्याहरू, त्यहाँको एजुकेसन सिस्टमहरूदेखि लिएर त्यसलाई चाहिँ कसरी चाहिँ भनौँ न रिहेबिलिटेट गर्न सकिन्छ भनेर चाहिँ उहाँहरूले चाहिँ वर्कआउट गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ खुसीको कुरा हो। अनि सायद अब भनौँ न यो धेरै अब हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि एकदमै डिप्रेसिभ नै छ क्या। हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि रिसेन्टकै घटना हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि एउटा नवीना थारू जो चाहिँ भनौँ न एउटा त्यो हाम्रो कन्जर्भेसनलाई चाहिँ वेल म्यानेज गर्नुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ आन्दोलन गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सिधै टाउकोमा गोली हानिएको थियो क्या। त्यो भनेको चाहिँ के हो त? राज्यले थारूलाई हेर्ने दृष्टिकोण के हो त होइन? अनि थारूहरूले पनि अब भनौँ न यो जनयुद्धको टाइममा भनौँ न त्यो टाइम चाहिँ किन त धेरै सहभागिता जनाएको थियो त? कारण के थियो त भन्दाखेरि ल्यान्ड नै थियो कि, ल्यान्ड सिस्टमै थियो कि नेपालको होइन, इकोनोमिकल सिस्टम नै थियो कि होइन। किन चाहिँ त्यो कुरा होइन ल्यान्डबाट पनि मार्जिनलाइज गर्यो, इकोनोमिक सिस्टमबाट पनि मार्जिनलाइज गर्यो, किन गर्यो त होइन? त्यही क्वेसनले नै सायद होइन त्यति धेरै सहभागिता थियो हो। तर अहिलेको चाहिँ अब सिचुएसन हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ केही अब भनौँ नि नयाँ युवा पुस्ताहरू चाहिँ सहभागी भइराख्नु भएको छ। उहाँहरूले चाहिँ कमसेकम त्यो दुईटा समुदायलाई चाहिँ कसरी मिलाएर लान सकिन्छ भनेर चाहिँ वर्कआउट गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ होपफुल राम्रै होस् है। थ्याङ्क यू।
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I think, yeah, we have to hit it. We planned for one and a half hour, but now we are already over more than 40 minutes. So yeah, I take this opportunity to thank all the speakers. But let me summarize like very briefly. Labkan shared about the stories through the means of art, especially like how the state has been suppressing, oppressing, and dominating the issues of the human rights issues that Thar people are going through in the country, where Fulman mostly shared about the different conventions, different treaties that Nepal government is a signatory, and how the Nepal government can actually, how Nepal government is not obliged to different treaties and conventions, especially about the ILO Convention 169, human rights related treaties. And how the permanent forum of the indigenous people is going to study different issues about the sickle cell and biodiversity. Whereas other speaker, Uma Shankar Chaudhary, highlighted the situation of the Thar people in the country and how Thar people are marginalized in the country and different issues that they are going through in the country. And Honorable Vishnu Chaudhary highlighted the different initiatives and different activities that Tharu Commission has been undertaking in the country. And there we had a great Q&A session. So lastly, I really would like to thank all the speakers, all the panelists for your valuable presence, your valuable thoughts. Thank you so much. We could not have done this without you. So on behalf of Global Home for Indigenous Peoples, we are deeply, heartily, and indebted for your time. And I know it's very late in Nepal. It's cross midnight, so you dedicated this time, so we understand the importance, the value that you are really putting, the dedication that you have for promoting the rights, human rights of the indigenous people, particularly with relation to Tharu Indigenous people. And we are also thankful to all the distinguished delegates from the UN Permanent Forum for Indigenous Peoples. And we have valuable presence from different regions. So thank you all. lastly, we all know how there are the conflict between the state and the indigenous people. Although we have been indigenous people like living in a country for ages, for years and for years, but how as a state they are dominating, they are suppressing and act as a, powerful agent to dominate, to suppress, to rule. And as an indigenous people, as indigenous communities, how indigenous peoples are resisting that power, that separation, and we are way lagging behind. We have lots of things to do. So I think as a community, as a group, we have to come together. We have to join hands together to lobby and to resist and to fight against the state. As we all discussed, like actually the role of the state is to protect their own citizen, and which is not actually happening when we take the example of Nepal. So we are let's join hands together. Let's take this forum, this session to start this, joining hands together for in this common endeavor to fight, to start our dialogue, to build our to bring these issues on the mainstream politics, mainstream media, in the so that our rights, our issues are heard by the policymakers, by the stakeholders, by the right stakeholders, and also bring the international forums, international community, so that the issues that Tharu Indigenous peoples, especially what they are going through from the Tikapur incident, and we have been talking a lot about Tikapur incident, and there are several families who have been still struggling to get the right justice from the state. So let's come together, and I hope this session is enlightening. This session has been that instrumental to bring this issue and in the international forum, and we expect to work together with Tharu Commission, with the different other international agencies, and we are really thankful, grateful to all of you, all the panelists, all the distinguished delegates who are present in this session. So with that, I'd like to thank you all, and I like to close the session now, unless if you have any final words, yeah, and then close our session. Yeah.
Maybe we can take a photo.
Okay.
Anilji, I have.
Okay.
Just a few things. Yeah, I'm really happy to see all of you, basically a member of the Tharu Commission and other participants. Yeah, I'm really happy to hearing in this platform, you people are really doing a very good job, because the first time the Tharu people's agenda, Tharu people's concern, Tharu people's issue are raised internationally during this 15th session of the accept mechanism. Before this meeting, I do not see any activities, any intervention in the globally. And I remember you, Anil ji, you have a very good opportunity during the 21st session of the Plan Forum in New York. You raised a very good issue related to the Tharu peoples. That was also first time that you people able to raise the issue of the Tharu people. And this moment, President of the Global Home for Indigenous People is doing here in Geneva. I am also here, and he's doing so many activities during the 15th session of the expert mechanism. He's making the statement related to the Tharu people's issue. So I'm really happy you people able to raise the issues of Tharu peoples internationally. So I'm really happy. I am really committed to work with you, all of you, including Tharu Commission and other fellow participants. Thank you very much. Giving the floor.
Thank you. Brace, do you have any words? Otherwise, I request everyone to, if possible, to turn on the video so that we can take a group photo. Otherwise, there is no forceful, yeah. Brace, do you have any other words you were?
No, I just wanted to say, like, there is a UPR. UPR is a Universal Periodic Review that's going to happen next year. Nepal will come to Human Rights Council to present. So we will intervene next year as well. Anyway, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. So I say everyone turning on their video. So let's say like 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to take a, snapshot. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful evening, wonderful day, and take care of yourself.
And be in touch. Please be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.